I'm Ethan Kwan, and today I'm going to be showing you what an exponential graph is. So one of these are exponential graphs, and these all are exponential graphs. So let me draw another exponential graph. Okay, so that's my no, it's not. Okay, so there. So an exponential graph, let's say that y, where is it? Let's say that y is equal to 2x, okay? So y is equal to 2, where's my pen? So y is equal to 2 to the power of x. So what would 0 on this graph look like? So the point 0, so if the x coordinate is 0, 2 to the 0th power is 1. So that's that point. What about 1? 2 to the first power is just 2. Let's say x is 2, so 2 to the power of 2 is 4, right? So now let's do x is equal to 3. 2 to the power of 3 is 8. 8 is, so there. So if that's the graph, what would the actual graph look like? So this is an exponential graph. So when y is 0, x is 1, and that's the graph basically. So eventually it doesn't get quite to 0, but it gets pretty close to 0 on the y. But it never quite gets to 0. So that is an exponential graph. So whatever has an exponent in it. So without further ado, let's solve these equations and match them to the equations. So y equals 2 minus 1/3 x. So y is so when y is 2, so let's try 0 out for a thing. So anything to the 0th power is 1. So this part is 1. 2 minus 1. It's 2 minus 1. So y equals 2 minus 1, or y equals 1. So when x is 0, y is 1. So x is 0, y is 1. So it's either this graph or this graph. So how about when x approaches something really big, like, let's say, 1,000. 1/3 to the power of 1,000. Actually, anything to the power of 1,000 is super big. But since this is 1/3, it's gonna get 1/3 times 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 1/3. Am I saying third? Times 1/3, and so on. So it's gonna be very small. So it's gonna be 2 minus something very small. So it's gonna be subtracting it's gonna be about 2. So where do we see that? Is it in this graph? No. It's actually in this graph right here. So this one makes sense to go over here. So now what about this graph? Sorry. What about that graph? Well, y is equal to 1/2 x minus 2. Let's say, well, this is going to be really small because 1/2 x to the 0th power is just 1. 1 minus 2 is -1. So it's going to be either, so when x is 0, y is -1. Not this one. This one. When x is 0, y is -1. Yeah, that makes sense for this one too. That's about -1. So these two match. These two. So let's try something really big. I mean, like, huge. Hold on, this one's out. So something really huge, like one, like 100, for example. 1/2 times 100. 1/2 to the power of 100 is super small. It's going to be 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2, and so on. So something really small minus 2 is probably going to be negative. So minus 2. So it's probably going to be close to -2. So it's what we see right here. So that's a coincidence. It's right above. So there. This one is crossed out. So what about this one? Well, this one, it looks like, well, this one, let's try this y equals 2x. Well, this is one of the most simplest ones because I already kind of showed you down here. Y equals 2x is gonna be like, it's gonna be like this one. But how do we prove it? Well, we can try out different values of x. So let's try x equals 0. When x equals 0, 2, and that's just going to be 1. So y would equal 1. When x is 0, y is equal to 1. Yeah, that's true. So this one is also right above. So that leaves only one choice left, and this one's crossed out as well. And with a little bit of deductive reasoning, you would figure out which one is which, but let's just go through it anyway. Y equals -3x. So you have to be careful here because does it mean -3 to the x power, or does it mean 3 to the x power? So it doesn't mean, hold on, where are we? So is it just 3 to the x and then add the negative sign? Or is it with brackets 3 to the x? Or is it -3 to the x? Well, if it won't make sense if it's just -3 to the x, because you're going to have to remember the order of operations, because the exponent is first apart from parentheses. So you're going to do the exponent first. So 3 to the x first, and then add the negative sign. So 3 to the x, let's say 3 to 0, that's just going to be 1. So -1. So when y is 0, it's -1. When x is 0, y is -1. So that's x0. This is x, y is -1. So this one is this one. So that's everything. That's what exponential that's what an exponential graph is. See you at howtodostuffwithethan.com, and if I don't, see you in the next video. Bye!